Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. I'm going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you earlier in the week? Well, for the month of Meatmas, we're not just going to be doing a devlog on Fridays, where we cover things like game modes and the sort of large update things, but on Tuesdays, we're going to be doing a sort of Meatmas roundup, where we go over the gifts that have dropped in for those of you who don't have the game or don't have VR yet. So this is a spoiler warning for those of you who have not yet opened up the toys for day 1 through day 4. In addition to that, we're going to be taking a look at other systems that are being developed in parallel this month as we sort of diverge from the sort of standard update process. In this case, a whole bunch of advancements to the melee combat systems. Anywho, let's take a look at what we got here. Let's move over here, pop these into our Meatmas bullpup storage device. Still love that joke. So, in the Meatmas Snow Globe, if you somehow missed the earlier message about this, there are these advent calendar boxes that have a special treat for each day in them. So we're going to go and we're going to basically unbox day 1 through 4, take a look at what we got, and talk a little bit about them. So here is day 1's. To open these, we grab the lever, and you got to pull it all the way down. Oh yeah, that was my lame white guy dance. So the first one, oh, I never get tired of that. So the first thing we've got is an original AR-10. That's right, this is the predecessor to the AR-15 that I'm sure pretty much all of you are familiar with. It's chambered in a 7.62x5.1, and due to being an earlier design, as you can see there, 1956, has a number of things that we no longer find in various patterns of this rifle, like the charging handle up here on the top, this little piece of metal that comes back when we charge it. I love these waffle-style magazines. Always just love that as a design. Safe semi-auto, and honestly, a really great pair of irons. It's incredibly usable. Pop some snowflakes there. And obviously being 7.62x5.1, not the most controllable thing on full auto at range. Oh, and we are out. 20 round mag. So yeah, so that is our day 1 gift. Huge thanks to Stefan for this beautiful piece. This was a personal request of mine from him a while back, because I love it. I just love the color of the furniture with it, the dimensions. What a delightful piece. All right, let's move on to our next box. All right, day 2 box. Let's open her up. I love my dancing wieners. For day 2, we've got a tiny boy, absolutely tiny. That's right, it's the FN 1906, which is one of the earliest slide fire pistols. This is a pocket pistol. And you might be like, what? It's so tiny. How would this even be useful? It fires 25 ACP. You know, there's about as much muzzle energy behind firing this as like throwing it at someone's head. And that's because of the fact that these were designed specifically to be able to fit in like a breast shirt or a vest pocket without bulging. They were sort of like more of like a self-defense deterrent pistol, rather than something that could really be counted on to, to actually like kill someone. But it's a delightful little piece. Let's run over here. Wonderful. 6 shots. I actually got to fire, not this, but a fairly similar, I believe it was like a Colt vest pocket. about a year ago. It was really fun. They're really hard to grip. As you can imagine, you can really only get your trigger finger and like your middle finger on there, and you have to depress the grip safety somehow via force. So you're basically holding it as hard as you can with your middle finger and your hand. I can imagine a lot of folk probably ended up firing this accidentally back in the day, but I'm sure, to my knowledge, a whole mess of them sold, so wonderful. Beautiful little piece. Thanks so much to Darko for the beautiful model that, truth be told, I wasn't even aware of how tiny it was before I got it from him. All right, let's take a look at Day 3's box. All right, Day 3's box. Here we go. All right, so for Day 3, we've got the K50M. This is a weapon produced by the Democratic Republic of Vietnam, or most commonly known as North Vietnam, during the Vietnam War. It's basically a modified PPSH with the sort of heat shield bent down, and I can't remember what firearm this front sights. This is, I think it's this front sight off of a MAT 49, which means that the front and the back sight don't actually align with each other terribly well. It's got this extending and retracting stock and a pistol grip, unlike the regular PPSH. And of course still has, let's see if we can actually hit something with this. I don't know if I'm hitting high or low. There we go. Fire enough rounds at something, you'll eventually hit it. Still has that absolutely wild fire rate and nice compact dimensions. Why fire one bullet accurately when you can just spray 35 in its general direction? Wonderful. Beautiful piece, cool piece of history. Huge thanks to Ben for the gorgeous model. Wonderful. Pop that over there. All right, and then lastly, Day 4's object. Here we go. Day 4. For Day 4, we've got a sweet pair of toys. That is right, it is the Bren 806 and the Bren 807. The 807 is in 7.62 by 39 here. Let's go ahead and pop that there. And the Bren 806 is in 5.56 by 45 and is actually Stanag mag compatible if you'd like to use a different mag than the one that comes with it, or a drum. Let's take a, you know what, I didn't think to actually spawn this with sights, so we're just gonna fire off a rail and hope we actually hit something off a rail. There we go. There we go, beautiful. Cool piece. I haven't actually gotten to fire one of these in real life. I got to fire the Bren 805, which was an interesting piece, and I love the aesthetics of that one too. Sort of like, the 805 is one of those guns that like looks like a SCAR, but doesn't end up functioning like a SCAR at all from a UX standpoint. And of course, if we want slightly larger amount of power, we can always pull out its larger cousin here, slinging that 7.62 by 39. If we can hit something with it. There we go. Can't let the smaller brother show it up completely. Let's look at that beautiness. Beautiful. Got a folding stock. We can extend and contract it, so it can be really tuned for the distance that you want that from your face with the virtual stock. What a beautiful piece. thanks again to Merrick for Bren 806 and 807. So that does it for our spoilery Meatmas gifts. Next, we're gonna jump over to the proving ground, and if you've been wondering, like, there's been like these like 2 gigabyte updates the past 2 days, what is going on? Clearly that gun is not 2 gigs. Well, while I've been sort of throwing this content out, I have been working to improve the melee systems. So let's jump over and take a look at those. So we are over in the proving ground, and oh my goodness, look at all of these medieval weapons sitting here. What are these doing here? Well, I decided to revisit a system attempt that I had made a while back to get impalement and weapon lodging in SOSIGs working. I'd worked on this back in the summer, and I'd had really inconsistent, glitchy results with it, and it would tend to cause crashes in builds, and I could not figure out why. So I sort of stepped away from it for a while and waited for inspiration to strike. And it finally did. Let's go ahead and pick ourselves up some toys to play with. And so I have been basically implementing all sorts of different medieval weapons to play around with and get some systems working. So we'll grab an arming sword here. You know what? That's not my favorite. I think this is, that's my favorite axe. And we've got 2 knives here. Let's spawn ourselves some board testing subjects. I hope you wieners forgive me. So as I, before, a lot of folks have mentioned with the melee combat that while, like, slashing felt pretty good, especially when you actually severed a joint on a SOSIG, that, like, stabbing felt sort of like you were stabbing it with a plastic knife, sort of thing. It didn't go into the target at all, and just didn't feel right. So it sort of limited every sort of thing that you might do with melee to just sort of whacking things and occasionally severing a joint. I'm sorry, these 2 dancing over here are really distracting me. So we're gonna, well, I was gonna separate you, but that works too. Anyway, so let's play around with this. So let's get our arming sword out. So the way this works, obviously, is that certain areas of the SOSIGs can be stabbed. If you strike hard armor, you're just gonna deflect off of it. But if you strike soft armor, like their Kevlar or their flesh, you will actually stab into them. The object is now actually jointed to the SOSIG. We can throw it away like that, and there's a couple other things we can do. If you stab into one and then very rapidly move to the side with the blade, oops, didn't quite get it there. Let's see if we can get this right.
Oh, darn it!
Nope, it's not doing it for me. If you do it fast enough, you can actually get a joint sever.
Oh, goodness!
But it, of course, because I'm demoing it on a recording, it isn't going to do it for me.
Oh, darn it!
It's just the way development always works. You can stab multiples into them and actually leave them in. They have some mass to them, so they can actually, based on what joint they're on, actually affect the sort of like movement and animation of the SOSIG. You can pull these back out. Whap! Sorry, buddy! Etc. Weapons can also what's called lodge into things. So in this case, let's find a good example. Here, I'm going to hit him here. If we come down with a swift enough motion, of course it isn't going to do it for me on the first attempt. Come on. Well, we can still sever. There we go. So we've now lodged into him, and we can free the weapon by just pulling it back rapidly. There we go, stuck into him, and we can actually pick him up, manipulate him, throw him, stab him repeatedly, throw, etc. And so there's now reasons to pick, aside from abstract damage stats, which type of melee weapon you want to use. Reach matters a whole lot more, especially with like longer weapons like this, and whether you want a sort of a long stabbing implement to be able to hit them easier before they get into attack range with you, or whether you want something much shorter, and when they're even up close like here, you can still strike them easily and pull away. Ah, whee, up you go. Come on, whack. There we go. Lodged in. Blap.
Tears it.
Etc. Oh, we're stuck on the body. It's still a little glitchy, and truth be told, it'll always be a little glitchy. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna go crazy making sure that every single corner case works and things like that. This is still primarily a gun game, but I wanted to just make this a little more satisfying and varied. So if you want to actually see what this looks like in a little bit of combat, I think I'm gonna run over to the team fight area and close out this video with a little bit of fighting, so you can see what that looks like. Do 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 do.
You're dead meat.
Let's go.
Here I come.
Oh, still got me.
Tear meat from me. Rush me. Double. Oh, darn it. Oh, darn it. Oh.
There we go. That's the sever we get from pulling off from them.
Yikes.
Pull knife out. Oh no!
Special order. Flanking right.
Gotta help my friend. There you go. Onward. Off you go. I really need to add some vocal hooks for them to respond to all of this.
Self-serve.
And there you have it.
Quick, let's all aim like idiots.
Let's all aim like idiots.
Self-serve, baby. Oh, I need to snap out of it.
Well, let's go ahead and jump out of VR and talk about the rest of the week and what's coming on Friday.
Yo! Out of VR. Man, doing that melee stuff is it's actually a surprising workout. I've been doing it almost nonstop the past 3 days or so to test and build systems, and I gotta tell you, my upper arms and shoulders are so worn out. But yeah, so what's coming on Friday? So on Friday, another mode is coming to the Kappa Coliseum that I'm really, really excited about. I've been working on it. It's a little more, how to put it? Well, you'll see. It's a little more structured and lives up to the name of the set. In addition to that, one thing, because some folks have complained about the fact that the daily updates for the game during this month. I know some of you are on slower or metered internet or just can't stand constant updates. And I wanted to remind you that you can, in fact, right-click the game in Steam and choose how you want the game to be updated. You can set it to only update this game when I go to play. And so if you aren't jumping in and trying the sort of Meatmas boxes every single day as they come out, I strongly recommend you switch over to that. And then, let's see, so there's that. We did the Meatmas branch, the update stuff. Oh, and lastly, obviously, one more shameless plug. We've got a Meatmas merch store, or rather, just a merch store for the game that has some fun Meatmas stuff in it. Link below in the description. And yeah, so I'm going to be continuing to stream every day during this Meatmas month, showing off my work. I'm still working on the melee systems and improving that, bringing in other weapon types. I've actually got a couple ideas for things that are on the slightly more fantastical end of things. That will be appropriate to go with the set, as well as some folks have thrown out some really great goofball melee weapon ideas on stream over the past week, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and make a few of them because they're just too ridiculous not to. From a rolling pin to a giant spork, so and a few other things. So yeah, well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Not used to saying that. And I will see you all either on stream or in Friday's update devlog. Peace.